Hi guys, you're welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be learning how to go about the cutting and sewing of this simple palazzo jumpsuit. This tutorial is beginners friendly. If this looks like something you're interested in, kindly watch to the very end. And do not forget to like and share this video. The first thing I'm going to do is to cut out the upper part, which is the half length of the jumpsuit. It is going to be a basic bodice. If you like, you can decide to make any bodice of your choice. I'm going to measure from this line down to the half length measurement, but before that I'll draw half-inch allowance like so, which is going to serve as my joining and stitching allowance on the shoulder area. So after that, I'm going to measure and mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2. I'm also going to mark the neck width and the neck depth, which is 3 inches by 2.5 inches, because I want the neck to be a bit high. You can decide to use this same measurement for any neckline of your choice. After that, I'm going to connect like so to give me a round neckline. After connecting my neckline, I'm going to come to the shoulder measurements area. I'm going to come to this point and take down 1 inch for the shoulder slope. Then I'm going to connect back to the neck width with a straight line. So the next thing now is to measure and mark the chest line so that I'll be able to create my armhole line and armhole curve. So you divide your bust circumference into 6 plus 1.5 inches and you measure and mark whatever you have like so. Then you connect with a straight line. On this line, I'm going to measure and mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2. I'm going to connect from this point back to the shoulder slope. After that, now I'm going to measure and mark my bust circumference divided by 4 on this line. Then I'm also going to add my side seam of 1.5 inches. After that, now we are going to create the armhole curve. To do this, now you come to this line, measure and mark whatever you have divided into 2 equal half, come in by half an inch, then you connect to the tip of the shoulder slope and back to the bust measurement on the chest line, just like you see me doing. So the next thing now I'm going to do, so after that now, so on the waistline now, I'll divide my waist circumference by 4 plus dart intake 1 inch plus 1 inch dart intake plus my side seam. So whatever you use on the chest line is what you're also going to use on the waistline regarding the side seam. So for the side seam, you use the same measurement you use on the chest line, also on the waistline. Then after this, you connect with a straight ruler. Mind you, I place the fabric on each other, then I also fold in the zipper allowance of 1.5 inches. Yours can be less or more than that. So after this now, you can now measure and mark out the neck width and the neck depth for the back, which is 3 inches wide, 1 inch deep. This is just like a regular basic neckline. You can decide to make use of any neckline of your choice. So I'm going to cut out the back neckline first, cut out the shoulder, the armhole and the side before I cut out the front neckline. Now we are done with the upper bodice. The next thing now is to cut the trouser part of this jumpsuit. Just like the way we cut our trouser, we're going to start with the front pattern. To know how long your fabric is going to be, you're going to subtract the half length from the full length of the jumpsuit. Then you're also going to be your folding allowance an extra 2 or 3 inches for your crotch area. Because it is a jumpsuit, the crotch length is going to be different from our regular trouser crotch, so that will be comfortable in our jumpsuit. To get your crotch depth for your jumpsuit, you divide your hip circumference into 4 plus 2 or 3 inches if you're in a bigger size. For my size, I'll be adding 2 inches, meaning that if your crotch depth is 8 inches plus 2 inches, that means you have 10 inches altogether. You can also take your crotch depth measurements for your jumpsuit. So you consider all these measurements when you are taking the length for the trouser of the jumpsuit. So guys, I'm done with this, and here is where I'm going to start my measurement from. So this line I have here is going to be my waistline, and from this line I'm going to take all of my vertical measurements. From the waistline, you measure down to the crotch length. The crotch length you calculated earlier, you measure down, then you connect with a straight line. you mark and connect like so. So now the next thing is to take your hip line or hip length. So from your crotch you go up by 2 inches, and you can also measure from your waistline the length of the hip. So then you connect like so. So after the waistline, the hip line and the crotch, you are going to measure down to the knee line. Then you connect with a straight line. I just hope you can see my line. So after which you are done with this, you come to the waistline and divide your hip circumference into 4. Whatever you have on that line, you measure on the crotch line as well and connect like so. After this, now you are going to measure and mark the crotch extension. So you can either divide your hip by 4, whatever you get you divide by 4 again, or you divide your hip circumference by 20, or you divide your thigh measurement into 2. So whatever you get is what you are going to measure from this line here forward. All right, then you're going to connect back to the line that is coming from the waist. So from the hip line you can just go out by 0.25 and you connect like so. So you can even come to this corner here and measure 1 inch diagonally. This is just going to guide you on how your curve is going to be. Okay, after this you measure from your crotch line down to about 3 inches for your thigh line. Connect with a straight line. Measure whatever you have on the crotch line up to the crotch extension. You measure and mark the same thing on the thigh line and connect like so. Then once you are done with this, because it is a palazzo, we want it to be wide, so there is no need of taking perfect knee circumference or ankle circumference. Measure what you have on the thigh line, on the knee line, and also on the trouser length. Then you connect with a straight line. After this, you come to the waistline and divide your waist circumference divided by 4 from this center line towards the side, plus your 1 inch dart intake if you want to have a dart, and if you do not want to have a dart, you just add your stitching allowance of about 0.5 inches. Then you connect back to the hip line and with a curve rule, just like you see me do. If you have waist dart on your waistline, you divide whatever you have on the waistline into 2 equal half, and that point is where you're going to have your waist. So I'm going to mark it, then I'm going to cut out the pattern. Then you're also going to notch that point where you have the waist dart. So with this, we are done with the front pattern. The next thing we want to do is to cut out the back. It is not on the pattern paper. Make sure you add about 0.5 stitching allowance so you don't take out from your original measurement. So guys, I already placed my fabric into 2, then I placed the front pattern on it. So for the back, you are going to need allowance at the top and also at the center back line around the crotch area. Okay, so from this crotch area, I'm going to measure and mark 2 inches. So you can measure 2.5 inches or 3 inches depending on your size. I already have a video on how to draft a basic trouser. Please kindly check it out. I'll be dropping the link in the description box so that you will know how to get your crotch extension measurements. So I'm going to add 0.5 inch allowance for stitching allowance. Then from here, I'm going to go up by 1.5 inches. So you can use 2 inches, 2.5 inches, or 3 inches depending on the size. So I'm going to mark 1.5 inches here. Then I'm going to connect with a straight line towards the side, just to be a guideline for me. Then from here, I'll reconnect the line upward. Then I'm going to connect from this point here back to the side like so, exactly where the front pattern is. So once you connect like this, the next thing is to measure out the crotch. Then I'm going to trace out the side upward like so. Alright, so the next thing you want to do now is to measure 2 inches around your crotch area. So I'm going to measure the 2 inches from the waistline down to the crotch area, and I'm going to reconnect back to the crotch extension. Then on the waistline now, I'm going to come to this line that I have here and I'm going to reconfirm my measurements. So here you should have your waist circumference divided by 4 plus about 2 to 3 inches for your dart intake and also for the his allowance at the back. So after this, I'm going to connect straight down to the trouser length. You just measure whatever you have on the crotch extension straight down. So then you connect back to the crotch extension. So with this, we are done with the back pattern. We can now cut it out. So I want us to pay close attention to the way I'm going to be cutting this out. What we are going to do next now is to join our fabric piece together. On the back piece, I'm also going to measure and mark out the dart line just like I did for the front. This trouser is going to have a pocket. I'll be dropping the link to a video on how to attach a side pocket to your trouser. After you have fixed your side pocket, you're going to place the back pattern on it like so, and you're going to join it from the waist down to the trouser length with 0.5 stitching allowance. Then you're also going to take your waist dart on both the front and the back pattern. So after which you are done with this, guys, this is what it's going to look like, and our pocket is ready. So kindly check the video so that you see how to fix the pocket. So the next thing you are going to do now is to place the two sides of the trouser on each other. Here I have the two pieces, and what we are going to do now is to start by joining the front crotch together. We're going to place one on each other like this, right side facing each other. Then you're going to join using 0.5 stitching allowance. So this is why you need to add your stitching allowance so that you don't take away from the original measurement. Before you join the back crotch, you are going to take your waist circumference measurement divided by 2. You measure from the center front like this towards the center back, and you measure and mark. So whatever you have left, you just stitch it like that. So you measure like so and you connect. So by the time you are joining it, by the time you get to somewhere around here, you are going to blend it in back to about 0.5 stitching allowance. For whatever you have on the waist, you are going to stitch it down to the crotch line. As I'm done with that, and here is what I have. What I'm going to do next is to take the inseam. So you place the crotch on each other like so. Make sure you align the crotch. You can secure it with your pin. Then you're going to stitch it round from the crotch down to the both leg of the trouser. So the next thing now is to lose this part, and that is when I want to join the upper bodice to that part. Alright, so remember we have a zip, so I'm still going to open it up later. Now for the upper bodice, now what I'm going to do is to cut out the lining for both the front and the back. For the front now, I cut out the lining, and also for the back I cut out the lining. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take the waist dart for both the front and the back. So what we are going to do here is just like the way we sew our basic bodice block. I'm done doing that. I took the waist dart and I turned the neckline. So for the back, I turned the neckline and the zipper allowance area. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to place the front on the back like so. Then I'm going to take the side seam, and I'm also going to join the shoulder. To join the shoulder now, we're going to have an inseam joining. We're going to place the fabric on each other like so, and you pick the lining, you flip it to the front and join it with 0.5 stitching allowance, or whatever allowance you had when you are cutting out your fabric. So I'm going to do this on both sides of the shoulder. Then I'm also going to take the side seam. So guys, I'm done doing that, and here is what I have. So the opening is just going to be at the back like this. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to attach the upper part to the trouser part, starting from the zipper allowance area. So I already opened up the zipper allowance on the trouser. So I'm going to attach the upper part to the trouser. Make sure you align the center front of the trouser to the center of the front bodice. So then I'm going to stitch it around, starting from the center back to the other side. Then I'm also going to be fixing the zipper. So you get a matching zipper and you fix to the back. This is just a basic sewing. So guys, I'm done fixing my zipper, and here is what I have. Alright, so for the next thing I'm going to do now is to attach a sleeve. So I'm going to be attaching a basic sleeve to this. You can decide to make use of a sleeve of your choice. This is just a basic jumpsuit. You can decide to make use of whatever type of sleeve you want. Then I'm also going to fold the hem of the trouser using my added stitching allowance. So for this I added 2 inches. I'm going to fold into 2 inches. Whatever you added is what you are going to fold. And with that, we are done with the sewing. So guys, this is what we have at the end. I'm very sure that by the time you're making your own, you are going to do better than this. That will be all for this tutorial. Thank you very much for watching. Do not forget to like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel if you are yet to do so. Drop your comments and drop your video requests. We'll meet again in my next one. Bye bye.